Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well folks, Nancy Pelosi is seemingly losing her mind. What is wrong with her? I have never seen a politician so vindictive, so destructive, so hellbent in partisan rage to go after their political opponents. She has thrown the Constitution straight into the garbage, thrown any semblance of rationality to the wayside, and is charging full steam ahead, showcasing her absurd level of lunacy for all Americans to see. And of course, whenever something like this happens, who are you gonna call? Well, it's definitely not the Ghostbusters. It is the Press Secretary of the United States of America, Kayleigh Mcenany, fake news assassin herself. And man, oh man, did she come out swinging, slamming Nancy Pelosi and her absurdity over the last couple months in the greatest fashion imaginable. So I gotta show you guys exactly what Kayleigh said. She held absolutely nothing back. She said probably what we're all thinking, didn't sugarcoat it one bit, and then we gotta analyze this whole situation. So I'm gonna pile on as well, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly why Nancy Pelosi has really lost it, folks. So we're gonna get into all of it, but before we do, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a new video, since that's by far the best thing you can do to support the channel. Now with that out of the way, let's roll the tape. What exactly is Nancy doing? Well, she's trying to invoke the 25th Amendment so that Congress can deem the president unfit to execute his duties. And she came out with this ridiculous sign, and this part highlighted, as Congress may by law provide, which we're going to debunk wholeheartedly, or at least Trump's lawyer is going to debunk, and I'm going to show you guys. But I guess it's not just political theater. I mean, obviously it is. It's just an absurd thing to do. But she's literally launching a commission to analyze the president's capacity, as you see right here. She actually believes that this is going to work. It's complete lunacy. And I question whether it's political theater or not. She can't possibly think this makes her or the Democrat Party look good, right? So maybe she's actually serious. Well, I don't think Kayleigh Mcenany is taking this very seriously at all. Look at how she responded.
Tomorrow, come here tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the 25th Amendment, but not to take attention away from the subject we have now.
The 25th Amendment says if the president can't do his job, then the vice president would resume the powers. What do you say about that?
Yeah, that's an absurd proposition from Nancy Pelosi. The only one who needs to be looking at the 25th Amendment is Nancy Pelosi herself. She had that bizarre interview on ABC a few weeks ago where in the middle of it, after she suggested using impeachment to make sure that Amy Coney Barrett doesn't get on the court, impeachment of the president of the United States for carrying out his constitutional duty. In the middle of the interview, she blurts out, "Good morning, good Sunday morning." So maybe she's projecting here because the 25th Amendment, no reason for it to be considered with regard to the president of the United States, but maybe for Nancy Pelosi herself.
And like I told you guys, Kayleigh holding absolutely nothing back. Full on offensive, calling Nancy Pelosi and calling her out hard. Now her theory was that the 25th Amendment should be used for Crazy Nancy. Funnily enough, the president has a theory of his own, which is right along the same lines. Trump hits back at Pelosi's 25th Amendment move, says her real target is Sleepy Joe. Now in that case, it might actually make sense. No, but for real, imagine they use Joe as the vessel to get into the Oval Office and then just replace him, kick him out with the 25th, and put in Kamala. Boom, the glass ceiling has been shattered. But that's not the end of the crazy drama going on in Washington right now. Of course, the president's chiming in and adding salt to the wound. Crazy Nancy is the only one who should be under observation. They don't call her crazy for nothing. And get this, she might actually be. Breaking, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy just told the Mark Levin Show that in light of her recent unhinged behavior, he is putting together a coalition of House members to evaluate Nancy Pelosi's mental capacity and fitness to remain Speaker of the House. Washington is just memes now. I mean, I hate to laugh because obviously nothing productive is happening while all of this tomfoolery goes on, but if the Democrats are going to act in this way, I mean, might as well beat them at their own game, or might as well make light of it and make them look like the fools that they really are. And obviously, Kevin McCarthy isn't being serious here, but it's definitely a clever way to spin it onto Nancy Pelosi and show the absurdity of what she's doing. She literally threatened the president with impeachment for following through with his constitutional duty of picking a SCOTUS pick. What is wrong with her? She is so far unhinged, it's unbelievable. They tried Russiagate, a complete farce. They got exposed and are being exposed actively as we see. Russiagate didn't work. They tried Ukrainegate. Clearly, that flopped on its face. Then they were getting ready for the third impeachment during the early days of the COVID pandemic, focusing of course on unseating a duly elected president instead of preparing for the worst pandemic in American history. And of course, that didn't age well now, did it? So nothing worked. So now they want to invoke the 25th Amendment. They will stop at nothing. I've said that so many different times. The Democrats will stop at nothing to unseat this current president. But Jenna Ellis completely obliterated Nancy Pelosi's 25th Amendment narrative. Now remember when I showed you guys the picture of Nancy Pelosi at the start, she highlighted this sentence, obviously making it seem or alluding to the fact that Congress can just kick out the president whenever they want. Well, Jenna Ellis, the president's attorney, completely embarrassed Nancy Pelosi and the narrative that she was trying to frame. Check this out. These are the words at Speaker Pelosi should have highlighted in Amendment 25 Section 4. Can't take action without the Vice President, Nancy. Doesn't matter what your little coup bill says. Whenever the Vice President and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments or of such other bodies as Congress may by law provide, transmit to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their writing declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. The Vice President shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office as acting President. So, little Miss Nancy, you can't exactly get your job done without Mike Pence being on board. And I'd say that's a little bit of a pipe dream. So I'm not kidding when I tell you guys, Nancy Pelosi is actively wasting your time on taxpayer dollars. She was elected to her office to work for you, but instead she plays schoolyard tit-for-tat political games, doing her little media tours, trying to get one-liners and launch attacks at the president. Like this, Pelosi, Trump is in an altered state right now. A little bit of projection. This woman has done nothing but obstruct, resist, and deny reality for months. Speaking of denying reality, let's talk about her behavior when it came to coup stimulus packages. Pelosi letter slams Trump for delay, denial, and distortion of the coup. She's blamed Trump for months now as being the source for stalling stimulus packages from reaching the American people, and more specifically small businesses and American workers. Well, I mean, we've covered on this channel for how long. We know that she's been the core of said stalling and blocking bills since day one. And Steve Scalise said it right here. Pelosi wasn't serious about getting coup relief. She funded illegals and failed states, aka blue cities that let their cities burn, instead of focusing on the average American worker, instead of focusing on airlines workers who got furloughed, 19,000 of them quite recently. And you know, it's proven. She even said it herself, a little bit of a Freudian slip. Pelosi says we can't do airline help, then we'll lose all leverage to do everything else. She is using your jobs, your suffering, based on the current economic suffering due to lockdowns, as leverage to try to get her little Democrat wins, her little progressive wins introduced into the bill. Think about that. She literally just said it. We can't do airline help. We cannot help you, 19,000 workers who just lost their jobs, because then we'll lose all the leverage for everything else that we're trying to sneak in the bill, like funding illegals and funding failed Democrat cities. This is the politics of Nancy Pelosi, politicizing tragedy, using downtrodden, disgruntled, and destitute Americans as political pawns instead of just working for the American people and doing the right thing. You know, very recently the president said we're going to be focusing on the SCOTUS pick, and so we're putting talks when it comes to stimulus aid to the side because clearly it's just not moving forward. Nancy refuses to work on bipartisan legislation. Bipartisan actors within the House have been asking her specifically, can we do a smaller bill just to make sure that we get help to those who need it? And she literally said, something is not better than nothing. A pompous Democrat elite with her chocolate candy and her $24,000 freezers telling you, the American people, that something is not better than nothing, when clearly it objectively is. When you're suffering, you can't make payments, you can't feed your children, something is definitely better than nothing. And while she's been blaming the president, it's his fault that the aid isn't going through, the president counteracted her with this, which was a very clever ploy. If I am sent a standalone bill for stimulus checks, $1,200, they will go out to our great people immediately. I am ready to sign right now. Are you listening, Nancy Pelosi? And so he gave her the option. He said, hey, just give me a standalone bill just so we can get those checks out. What did we hear from Nancy Antoinette? Absolutely nothing. So while she stays at her vacation homes with her chocolate candy and chocolate ice cream, with her feet up and drinking her margarita, she's unwilling to lift a single finger to give the president and of course the American people what they want, stimulus aid. And so I will say what I always say on these videos. This is why it's important to pay attention during midterm elections. The general election is the big fiasco with all the ad revenue and all of the crazy stuff going on, but the midterms are arguably 10 times more important, because what can the president do if the Speaker of the House is so far unhinged that it's pretty much impossible to have a discussion with her, and of course it's impossible to get any sort of compromise or meet in the middle and make deals. This woman is lost. And so Kayleigh's right. If the 25th Amendment is going to be used for anyone, it should be used to replace the Speaker of the House with somebody who will come with a rational take and actually work with the current administration to do their job and work for you. It's not a complicated concept, but that's what I got for you guys. And if you enjoyed it, then please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a new video, since that's by far the best thing you can do to support the channel. Follow me on Twitter and check out my Subscribe Star. Both links are in the description. And check out the Teespring shop where you guys can get the 3 Scoops President t-shirt. 3 scoops, 3 SCOTUS picks, 3 Nobel Peace Prize nominations, and of course, or hopefully, 2 terms and a House flip Republican. Now it's time for me to get back to cooking up some more content for you guys. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.